Oh my god. Yeah, I'm doing the survival. Yo guys, what is up? Maxi here with our first Descendant video, and today we're going over my build for Freyna, who's the poison character. With this build, we're hitting over 250,000 dot damage. It makes easy work of the hardest content in the game, and I'm making a build video for a beta. I know that's weird, but I wanted to make this build video, one, because there's a lot of people checking out the beta, and I hope this helps them, and two, I think there's a lot of people on the fence about this game. I was on the fence too. I've been really enjoying it, and I think watching a build video or just kind of this kind of content explains a lot about the game that maybe you wouldn't get from another kind of video, because build videos are pretty in-depth usually. So if you're sitting on the fence, maybe this video will teach you more about the game and maybe pique your interest or make you not want to play the game at all. We'll see. So I hope you guys enjoy the build video. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start with the very basics of the build, and then we'll get into like the specific mods. To start, Freyna is the poison character. I freaking love poison builds, dot damage builds. I do them in every game that I play: Path of Exile, Wonderlands, Borderlands 3, whatever I can get my hands on poison, and Freyna's pretty cool for poison. Now, her one attack is going to inflict do a poison bullet that does skill attack times 36% damage. It basically leaves a poison pool. Enemies that walk into it are going to get poisoned. We'll get into a little bit more detail in a second here. Her two is a defense mechanism. Enemies that shoot you while you have this plague armor on have a chance to get poisoned. This build can basically AFK content, because if enemies shoot at you, they will inflict poison and they will insta-die. Our dots are hitting crazy damage, so you can just kind of like chill there and enemies will kill themselves on you, which is really cool. Your 3 is a stronger dot than our 1. It's going to leave a poison pool, and enemies that walk through it kind of like drag the poison pool out with them. It'll extend the poison pool, so it starts as a little puddle, and if enemies run through it, they'll make it bigger, and it lasts for a decent amount of time, especially with our build. And so enemies are just going to keep running through it and spreading poison. And then our 4 is what this build is really built around. This ability, when I first played the game, felt pretty useless until we kind of discovered the nitty-gritty of it. So this reads: switches her weapon to the dead room, return to original weapon after 10 seconds, or the maximum limit of 45 bullets runs out. Enemies hit by dead room bullets are inflicted with skill attack times 207% damage and room 0 trauma. So this is its own unique kind of dot. It's going to do skill attack times 207. And that's kind of where the juice comes in, is because all these other things are like physical attack times 27, dot damage, physical attack times 35, which is why this is a little bit harder. And then this one's physical attack times 207 dot. So our 4 is going to leave the biggest dot. The impact of the damage of this sucks. You will not do any damage with the actual shot of the AR, but the dot that it inflicts is enough to insta-kill people, and that's what we're building off of. And then on top of that, we've got our passive. Enemies poisoned by our skills take 17% increased damage. So here's where the shenanigans of the build come in. Your skill attack is directly influenced by the gun you are holding. If you are not holding a gun in this game, you can't cast skills because it uses your gun's base damage as part of your damage formula for your skills. So what I've got here is a Guardian R4 level 40. This is a 1 in the mag, highest damage weapon in the game. It's got 45k base damage, and by holding this, all of my dot damage is going to be influenced by this, because this is kind of a part of my damage formula now, is holding this gun, and all of my damage increases, all of my crit chance increases will apply to this. I'm not gonna like go too in depth on it just because it's a beta, but I tried out a bunch of things that work and don't work, and trust me, the Guardian R4 is one of the best things that we can hold for this. The second best being a high crit chance shotgun, such as the Last Night. Both are really good. The Guardian is better for the 4, the dead room, and the like shotguns with high crit chance are better for the like 1 and 3. But just to show you guys how this works, let's do this. We're going to hold our pistol out. Our pistol is going to dot enemies for like 7,000 with 14k crits. And then if I do the exact same skill again, holding the rocket launcher, Now that was 56k damage on that skill attack. I didn't even get to proc the DoT because it did so much damage. The little shenanigan here, shoot my rocket launcher, reload. I'll explain why I do that in a second. Pop our weapon out, shoot this guy once, and he just took a 213,000 DoT proc, which by the way keeps ticking. He just doesn't have enough HP to live past that. So you can basically kill an entire wave of elite enemies with a few shots. You just kind of spread your shots out. You spray and pray into a big group of enemies, and every single one of them is going to basically insta-die. So the way that we have our runes set up for this character is to fully optimize the 4, have the most uptime on the 4, and we're able to do that with this mod, Veteran's Tactics. On defeating an enemy, 20% chance to reset skill with longest cooldown. Well, our 4 is going to be our longest cooldown always. It's got a 110-second cooldown, and every time we kill an enemy, we have a chance to reset it. Enemies are very plentiful in survivals or whatever, and you can proc this with the DoT ticks after you kill an enemy. So, like, at the very end of your AR, if there's ticks happening and killing enemies, you can just insta-reset it and get dead room back. And so we're able to keep up, not like 100% of the time, but we're able to keep up dead room a lot, which is going to absolutely maximize our damage. If you don't have this rune yet, by the way, you can get this from the like higher level bosses is where I get it. The level 55 bosses is where I got mine to drop, and Pyromancer. You can get, I think you can drop it as well. You can just rock full cooldown, but we're using this to maximize the uptime of our abilities. Then we've got maximized skill for 27% more skill attack, where our skills cost more. We've got skill integration for more skill attack. We're buffing up this multiplier of our skill attack that's going to get multiplied by our gun's damage. We've got less MP for more skill attack. Better defenses. This is really all you need to stay alive, is just buff up your HP as much as possible. Killing enemies will drop a bunch of HP. They'll heal you a ton, and I really don't have much issues surviving, especially with our defense buff, and a thing I'll show you in a second. And we've also got skill extension for more skill duration. This is going to buff up the time that we're able to be in our dead room, and also the pools of our poison, so our poison stays out longer. I do kind of want to make a Freyna build where I max out range and just try to like spread entire poison fields everywhere and kill everything. Currently, it doesn't seem like the range is properly working on Freyna. From my testing, it just like seems a little buggy, so I went full damage and duration as opposed to range. And then I've got a Tonfa on random melee weapon. Increasing the rune capacity of this is going to increase my total capacity, which is very cool. If this looks very unfamiliar to you, it's very much Warframe-esque. You've got mods with different rarities. You can upgrade them to increase them. The big difference between Warframe modding and this modding is your skills or your mods get exponentially better the higher the level. So like the last notch on a prime mod in Warframe gives you the same amount as your first notch, your first level up. Here they like exponentially increase. So my first increase on skill attack will go up maybe like 4%, 3%. But if I leveled up this, it'll probably go up at least like 10%. So it'll cost more, but you get more out of it, which is very cool. For our actual rocket launcher, we're going full damage. It doesn't benefit from a lot of things besides just full damage. So I've got strength and shot on after reload, first shots attack plus 30%. This works for the dead room. That's why I shot my rocket launcher and reloaded it. So I'm gonna get 30% attack there. I've got more attack there. I've got explosive attack because the rocket launcher is explosive attack. This actually like benefits more than it hurts with that minus attack. I've got weak point expansion because when you shoot bosses with this, it does extra damage to weak points, and we're going to get even more weak point damage multipliers, more attack damage, less fire rate. We don't care about fire rate. More crit hit rate. These dots can crit. We've got more crit hit rate, and then we've got spread poison to spread that poison. This stuff, it does crazy, crazy, crazy damage. And a rocket launcher will hit like 100k in of itself. You can shoot that out and kill big groups of enemies. Next up, I've got my pistol, which I used to if I want to shoot things and kill them. I'm using the Assassin's Blade because it's got a base critical hit rate of 30%. You could use any weapon you want. I like the pistols just because I enjoy using them. And I've got Defense Expert on mine, which whenever I kill an enemy with the pistol or with my skills while the pistol's equipped, I get stacking defense. This is huge for staying alive. And then I've got some attacks, some spread poison, and some elements on it. The pistol's really nice for killing things. You could use Torrent, you could use Storm. The reason I say shotguns are so good, mine's not like perfectly min-maxed. I'm like completely out of money currently in this game. But the reason shotguns are so good is because, for example, this Insight Focus at rank 8 only gives me 22% critical hit rate on pistols. But at rank 7, even less, I get 72% critical hit. So my critical hit on shotguns right now is 147%. So if you want to go a full critical hit rate build or crit poison build for the 1s and 3s, you can pull out the shotgun, which I like doing. The crits don't really work with the 4 ability, which is why the Guardian is so good for that. But yeah, mod up your shotguns for just full crit and base damage, and maybe some like attack against poison enemies with demonic, and you will be doing really, really well. And yeah, guys, that is it for the build video. I hope you enjoyed. This beta is out for a few more days. If you're interested, you want to give it a go, you can come over to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Moxie. If you watch for 15 minutes, you get a beta key, which is really nice. I've been enjoying this game a lot more than I thought, and I think it's got the bones to be a really good looter shooter. It needs more content, and it's not as like premium feeling as some of the other looter shooters on the market, but I've been really enjoying myself a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm excited for the launch of this game, given hopefully good monetization practices revolving around it, being that it is a free-to-play game. That's kind of the only scary thing looming. But yeah, whether you're playing the game or sitting on the fence, building in this game and build crafting and the abilities are pretty cool. It's very similar to Warframe. It's very grindy. And yeah, I hope you learned something from this video. I will catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.